Zuko. Am I on? You know.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Wake Up and Walk On, LongWalker's Live. Today, we were going over another street preacher, Christian street preacher that he calls himself.
We've covered his stuff before. We're actually doing the marriage thing with him.
Yeah, and we agreed with some of the stuff with him on that. Yeah, but this guy has become dangerous. He talks bad about a lot of people. He's arrogant, and he also talks bad about his own wife right in front of her, to the point that, you know, she even gets uncomfortable but won't say anything. Yeah. But yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to be showing some of his stuff and allowing people to see his newer stuff's gotten worse with the arrogance and his approach. He had a whole ordeal with Bryce Crawford, which Bryce Crawford I still want to cover at some point and actually get an interview with him. I'm hoping to at some point. Got to talk to him. He is a really good preacher, but he actually bashed Bryce Crawford.
His thing was that it was lukewarm, like, you know, kumbaya, hippie, what do you call it? Hippie Jesus or whatever?
Hippie and evangelist.
Yeah. And he had a whole thing. So do not become this type of evangelist and all that. And then, but then proceeded afterwards to say, oh, no hate toward him. And it's like I was saying, it's like different strokes for different folks, you know, like the kind of people that Bryce deals with is a lot of the homeless people and everything. You can't come at them with
the same way.
Aggression that David Hammond comes at people.
Yes.
Like some of the LGBT people, some of the anti, like, you know, for the abortion people, I can see coming at them with a little bit more fire and a little bit more, you know, oomph to it. But it's like there's people out there that don't need to hear it that way.
No.
And to do it the way Bryce is doing is kind of like opening the door to that.
Well, and it's like even Nicholas doesn't go at people like that.
No, he's still firm.
Yeah.
On that, but
he stands on his own principles.
Right.
But that's it.
But he's not like, you know, this
and well, and David Hammond, that's not all. He called Bryce's wife a whore.
Yes, because she dressed like a whore, like.
And he was like, you know, you should be with nobody like that, and going off on this, and that's wrong on every level.
Right. It's like there's plenty of other ways that you could have said that. It's like she doesn't dress very modestly. I don't feel that is a Christian way of going about it.
Yeah.
You know?
But if you want to call yourself a Christian and then come at people like that, that's not right.
Right. And what always just got me was like how we talked about his own wife. It's like, you know, is she the hottest woman that I've ever met? Oh, hell no, not by a long shot. You know, it's like I'm not even really attracted to her in that way. But I knew that she was what I needed. You know, this is what God put in my path to like help my ministry and all this shit. It's like, but like when you're with somebody, once you have been put in there, like with the God's, like the Holy Spirit, they are the most attractive person that you've ever met and will ever meet. You know, so it's like I don't know where he's going with that, but he says it a lot.
He does. Yeah, he says he's trying to convince himself that he wants to stay with his wife by the looks of it.
Right, and it's just like, well, this is what is needed, not what is wanted, but it's what's needed. So this is what we're gonna do. And it's like that's like it's totally lacking the passion.
It is by far.
You know? And I understood it to a certain point, but the amount of times that he says it is what gets me.
Yes, he says it a lot. So all right, I'm gonna pull him up, and we'll start with one of his more recent videos. It is how to harness anger as a Christian.
He's got a lot of ego, so.
Yeah, he does.
believers, guys and girls, let's get it going. Welcome back to the Badlands. I'll be honest, guys, I honestly love this. Like, this is really one of the highlights of my day. I come here I think I'll come here like 3 times this week. Now, funny enough, I have not uploaded every single video that I've recorded, and I think that's partially just due to I just didn't like them. Maybe it's my perfectionism, you name it. But I really do, and hopefully you guys can see, like, I want the best with this channel. I want every video to just be kind of like a little like pocket video from God, like just a little update, just something that can really give you guys some inspiration or maybe just some education along your path, because yeah, more so that opposed to inspiration, because, you know, inspiration can leave, guys, motivation can leave. Again, I came too late, sun's low, excuse the autofocus, but in today's video, I wanted to make a very personal, vulnerable, heartfelt one that I feel is, yes, to kind of like educate you guys. More so it's to repent, and it's to really, I guess, hold myself accountable, or really be able to document something that I'm learning that I feel a lot of men do not speak about. It is a very taboo subject. It's something every guy struggles with, yet no one has either the solution or they just don't speak of. Let this plane pass. And that, guys, is dealing with anger as a man, specifically as Christian men. You know, I think I'll just speak for myself. Wrath is something that every single man struggles with. Okay, if you do not struggle with wrath, then you're just suppressing it. It's as simple as that. Every single man, you know, if you have a nutsack, you have testosterone. One of the byproducts of testosterone is going to be wrath. And notice how I didn't say anger. Wrath is a little bit different, guys. There is actually a time and place for anger. Believe it or not, guys, biblically speaking, there is something called righteous anger, and that is very different than wrath. Wrath, on the other hand, guys, this is just, you know, a great example that I want to give you guys is kind of view it just like filling up a car. This is what comes to mind, right? When you fill up a car, we need a certain level of gasoline. As men, we need a certain level of fuel. We need a certain level of oomph. And if you do not have it, I'll tell you guys this, man, some people are not going to like this. I'd rather you, yeah, some guys are not going to like this. I would rather you as a man have too much wrath than not enough. And what I mean by that is I would rather you have so much, kind of view it just like with strength or with muscle. You know, when I first got into powerlifting many years ago, and the reason my coach took me on is not because I was the strongest, but it's because I had this undeniable intensity to me that he had. Like, it was very rare. He was like, okay, I've never seen someone grind through like if you guys know RPEs, right? Like something that's like RPE 9 means you have one rep in the tank. I would hit something RPE 9 and I would have like 3 more in the tank. I don't know why. My form was probably awful, but he was just like, what the heck? And so the point I'm trying to make, guys, is that it is much easier for me to use that wrath, for me to use that anger, for me to use that zeal, that tenacity, that ferocity, and to then learn how to control it, right? A good quote from Jordan Peterson goes, a good man, right? It's not a passive, weak Ned Flanders beta. A good man is a dangerous man who has that under control, right? When I was able to harness that.
Yes, we fully disagree with him on this one. Wrath is a sin. And so if they're going through the biblical way, that's a sin.
I understand what you're saying about having passion.
Yeah.
And having a little bit of like, and ego isn't necessarily a bad thing. To have ego is a good thing when it's directed the right way and it's pure and it's not like self-serving. But to be angry and wrathful and everything, that's really poisonous.
It is, yes. Very much so.
And it's like, sure, you can be a little bit aggressive. You can be, like, have tenacity, like he says, but wrath in it, it's like that's a totally different thing.
It is, for sure.
He's very, very egotistical.
Yeah, he has a high ego, that is for sure. Sorry, guys, for the dog.
Strength from powerlifting, and I was able to execute it properly instead of just going bung ho. For any of my athletes, you guys know what that is, going off program. Results are then able to come, right, without injuring yourself. But like I was saying beforehand, guys, if we do not know how to, this is actually a perfect example. I was going to use the gasoline example, I'll use powerlifting. If we do not know how to properly acclimate that strength, then we will not only burn out, but you're going to injure yourself. And I speak from personal experience. I've torn my pec, guys. Okay, I've almost popped the quad. I've torn my pec. It's real. Injury is a very real thing. Okay. And anger and wrath are the exact same thing. You see, guys, last night with my wife, there was some discipline that had to be done. I had to correct her on some things. And as men, you're supposed to do that, which is why I made it very clear. You see, the epidemic we have today, and I know I'm going to go on rabbit trails. You guys know how I go. Just grab some popcorn and relax. Come on, sit down. The epidemic we have today is passive men who just allow their wives to do whatever they want. That is a weak man. That is Adam's lower nature. All right. I don't have that. My thing is like Adam's evil twin. If Adam had an evil twin, that's my nature, right? And so I was correcting her on some stuff, just to pick it up, right? We got a kid on the way, and she does a great job, but some things just nor here nor there to correct on is hey, look, I got to be corrected on stuff too, right? It's not an exclusive club here. And what I noticed is that I was really beginning, and here's the biggest difference between wrath and righteous anger. Righteous anger can be good correction, right? Hebrews 12:6-8, the Bible says, for God chastens those that he loves, right? Good. Discipline. Jesus had righteous anger, right? Rebuking the Pharisees. That's all biblical, guys. Correction, rebuke. That's Titus 2:15, to exhort, rebuke with all authority, let no one despise you. That's normal, right? To myself included. That's fine. A lot of men can't handle that though. Your pastor rebukes you, and I've had men that I've rebuked and they've blocked me and they've like cried like a baby. And these are like so-called godly men you guys so supposedly watch. Anyways, nor here nor there. The difference with wrath, though, and what I was noticing that I did, and I greatly repented for it, and I had consequences for it, is I began to now no longer think logically or spiritually, but with my flesh. So that's the biggest difference, guys. Righteous anger is a spiritual thing. It is God giving you this righteous indignation to stop something, to say, no, we're not going to do it anymore. Your kid has his hand on the stove. No. Your neighbor's loud at 4 a.m. No. Your dog's running across the street, going to get hit by a car. No. Okay. But you need that as a man. That is your job. Do not let your woman draw the line in the sand. That is your job. All right. But wrath, on the other hand, is when you take that too far and you are now bringing in your flesh or your subjective emotional trauma, your own experiences, your own insecurities, our own garbage BS. And that's what I did. And I just like laid it on her, man, and tore to shreds. As men, the Bible says that our mouth, right, has the power of life and death. What we speak, what we say. And man, oh man, is that true, guys? After going too hard, we went to bed not in the best state. And like, buddy, I'll just tell you guys this, right? And this is what it is. And I want to say it's in Matthew, late Matthew, where it speaks about forgiving people, right? Otherwise, you're going to be handed over to the tormentors. A bit of soteriology for you guys. That's not talking about hell. It's actually talking about tormentors of Satan. Make no mistake, guys, as a born-again believer, you can still be tormented in your mind and oppressed by a demon. I don't mean possessed. Okay, we're not charismatic here. You cannot be possessed if you are born again into it with the Holy Spirit, but you can be oppressed. And what that means, guys, is just by negative thoughts, influence, like kind of you, like you're watching a really bad movie and now you're like really afraid of like, I don't know, tigers. You saw like a tiger movie, right? And you have this like spirit of, you're just like, you're being kind of oppressed. You're just like, you're being a puss. Like, come on, man, shake out of it, right? Think more logically and rationally, which I was not doing. I was just going overboard. And so I got hit with a lot of tormentors, man. That night I had probably the worst nightmares about her and I than I think I ever had. If you guys are married, you know what I'm talking about. This is spiritual warfare. And it was bad. It was bad. Now, granted, we restored fellowship. We're great now. We're fine. As men, we got to restore things quick, guys, right? We don't want to hold silent treatments and, prolong something that does not need to be prolonged. As men, we got to, and she has a lot of maturity. She has a lot of maturity on this stuff. So she's going to meet me halfway and take it. And we fix it. And it's good. That's not the point. The point is, though, guys, as men, if we do not know how to remove ourselves from correction and our own emotional biases, we're going to burn down a forest. It's a perfect example. Welcome to the Badlands, guys. If I light a match here, the majority of the Badlands right here is dry, brittle grass. Like this stuff will catch fire instantly. And if I have a lighter with me, right, the same fire that can be used to cook food, good. You as men need fire. Please remember that. This is not like some goofy fake piety. The majority of Christian influencers on TikTok and Instagram are effeminate. They have no fire. They're the ones that go viral, hugs and rainbows, kisses. A lot of times they get glorified for being the best husbands because they never raise their voice. And, oh, man, they just do everything for the woman. They don't ever expect anything. They never set boundaries. They're Ned Flanders. That is not a good man. That is a weak man leading your woman to hell. You understand? Or leading her to destruction. That is not a good man. That is the curse of Adam. That is a passive man. Just on social media, because we live in an ass-backward society, excuse my language, it glorifies that. Social media is it's effeminate, it's matriarchal, it's run by all Christian women. Women should not be influencers. Women, just like they shouldn't be teaching, they shouldn't be pastors. I do not think women should run YouTube channels by themselves. If it's submitted under their husband, okay, that's fine. But like these alios and all this stuff, like Girls Gone Bible, just more Christian women dude, it's unbiblical. It's out of order. I'm not saying they can't evangelize, guys, but when they're in this authority position to now teach, it creates a very false narrative on how like men and women are supposed to be. Excuse that cricket, man. That's loud. Hopefully you guys don't mind that. So what I'm saying, because that cricket, I don't normally hear crickets here. What I was saying, guys, is that same fire that can be used to cook food that we as men need. You need a fire, okay? One of the best telltale signs I look for in a guy who I go evangelizing with is, does he have this fire? If a man doesn't have a fire, he's useless. You're useless, man. I really do believe that's kind of like Revelation 3:16, because you're neither hot nor cold, you're lukewarm, you're useless. That's the context of it, guys. The church of Laodicea, right near.
All right, just hearing him say what he's saying is, it's like his ego is like times 10 times 20. He is so far up there with it all. And I mean, it proves it because he talks about a fight he just had with his wife, and talking about how he just let her have it, did this, did that. And it's like, okay, so that's not showing you that maybe you need to step your ego down.
Right. It's like, you can be a leader. I mean, we know from nature and from everything else that good leaders, men,
Yes.
are not like aggressive. They're not loud. You can be a leader. You can be stoic. You can take control of the situation without being loud, without saying, calling names, without doing any of those things. Just by your presence alone. I mean, it's like, if there's an argument, you can just shut that shit down.
Exactly.
And then when cooler heads prevail, you can come back and revisit that situation.
And say, okay, what's going on?
Because to be aggressive, I mean, frankly, that's feminine. To be aggressive and loud and throwing things and name calling. And
just like the woke left.
That's feminine.
Yes.
And that's how masculinity looks in a feminine frame. Whereas masculinity in the masculine frame looks stoic and quiet, and it just is.
Exactly.
It's strong. You can discipline and correct or do whatever the hell it is that he said without being like loud about shit.
Yes, exactly.
Can I let Mara out of be free?
Yeah. So I mean, that's the biggest thing, is he's in such a feminine state, trying to act like it's all masculine. No, I don't know if he's taking a lot more testosterone for his powerlifting or whatever he's doing.
He's always drinking like coffee.
Yeah, he has a lot of coffee. I think he stopped her moving dogs around. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, just bear with it.
It is like what do you call it? Like a protein powder.
Yes. And there's all different types of coffee now too. There's mushroom coffee that people are trying. So I mean, it's very interesting. Good job, Guru.
My body's still out there.
Okay. I'll get it later.
Yep.
I stubbed my toe.
Hot springs. Like, if a hot spring is just lukewarm, what's the point of it, man? What are you going to do with, are you going to make a coffee with lukewarm water, man? No. Are you going to make a nice, like, smoothie? As a perfect example. Are you going to make a protein shake, a cold smoothie with lukewarm water? No, of course not, guys, right? We want to have usefulness to us. And if you have no fire, you're useless. You're borderline useless. There's nothing God can do with you. The majority of Christian men today are useless. Lukewarm water does nothing, and it's fake piety, it's fake humility. It's just, I don't want to ruffle the boat, I want to look like the good guy. And in doing that, you know, as Christians, we're called to be we're called to be, I believe it's called peacekeepers, not peacemakers, guys. I could be butchering that, but you know, we want to keep peace, guys, yes, but like, if it's going against biblical order, then we're actually called to expose that with all authority, right? It's Galatians 5:11, right? Rather expose it, take no fellowship with workers of darkness. Hold up, I'm gonna rebuke that cricket. Hey, cricket, I need you to shut up. Yeah, you heard that? I need you to shut up now, okay? When I go back, I don't want you to keep yipping your little legs together, okay? All right? We cool? We homies? We're good to go? I don't know where you are, but you stop. So I want you to be quiet, okay? You keep it down now. Do you guys remember when I used to do that in Canada with birds? Birds would just be like cocking, like, that's a weird word, right in front of me, and I would just say, hey, telling you guys, Satan can use even little crickets. Anyways, guys, nor here nor there. Yeah, the majority of Christians, like I said, have no fire, and we need fire as men. That is a very noble thing to do, but a good man has to be able to control that fire, because make no mistake, as men, we are warriors. Amen, guys. And as men, we use that power outwardly. I heard kind of a good quote, and it goes like, we got to be careful we don't use the same sword we used to attack the world on our families. You understand? That same sword that we're going out, we're slaying demons, right? We're on our Paul arc. You're on your Adam arc, whatever that is. You're in the Badlands and you're just getting nicked and bruised by demons and spiritual warfare. We need to be very careful. We are doing that because we love our family. We want to protect our family, and we're not using that same sword on them. Do you understand? Because it can destroy a lot of things, guys. Look at the Bible, look at the Old Testament. When powerful men got in control and they listened to their own emotion, they burned down their entire kingdoms. They ruined it. They lost their anointing. I think of King Saul, right? And then given to King David, maybe that's not the best example. That's what happens, right? So we need that fire, guys, but we got to be really careful with how we tamper that. And really the solution is to try to get our emotion out of it. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not a Christian that's going to say, don't have any arguments, guys. I would actually rather you, and I need to make this very clear. I'm not ever saying you're physically hurting your wife. I've never once laid hands on my wife, ever. I've never physically hurt her. I've tickled her and stuff like that, but I've never hurt her. In fact, you marry a Latina, it might be the other way around. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I would rather you guys actually get into too many arguments, to raise your voice too loud, to realize you have that, and then to hunker that down. You know what I mean? So that's really what it comes down to, guys. We got to be careful. As men, we're fallible. We're gonna lose our shit at times, and that's fine. I actually encourage it. I think your family needs to know that daddy can lose his shit, so they better get in line, get in order. And I would much rather you as a man have that fire and then learn to control it than it controlling you, right? Again, as men, we're not called to be tyrants. We're not called to just belittle our wives, our families, and that's what I was doing. And repent, guys. We learned from it. We want to restore fellowship. We want to be good witnesses, guys. We don't want to lose our testimony. And I'm just really here to let you know that awareness in and of itself is transformative. As long as you're aware that it's going to happen, you're going to lose your cool at times. As long as you can be aware of that, guys, you're going to be okay. And I'm going to make many more videos on, why it began to happen, how to set boundaries as a Christian, how to lead your family or your wife. Granted, my kid's not fully here yet, but how to lead your wife, I can definitely speak on that, how to correct them. Because again, guys, if there's one point I can hammer home, you guys need to learn how to cultivate your fire. If you do not have a fire, you're going to be the most useless husband in the world. We do not need two housewives. We do not need two mamas. Do you understand? In today's society, we have two mothers. And in fact, the woman's actually the dad and the dad's the mom now. The woman runs the show. Your woman is beneath you. She's below you. She's created for you. You are not created for her. It doesn't mean she's less in value, but she has less in responsibility and order. All right. That's biblical order, guys. If you're angry, take it up with the Bible. And we'll finish there, guys. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Hopefully this light wasn't too crazy. Yeah, I honestly, I did come earlier, guys, to film, but I forgot my chair, so I was walking around. I wasted like an hour and a half, but that is completely fine. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Hopefully this was able to help, and I'll check you guys in the next video. My one plug, if you guys are interested, there is one-on-one coaching, men's discipleship coaching below. If you men want to work with a brother in Christ, I love speaking with you guys, and the results in your lives are phenomenal. First link down below. Thank you, guys. Check you next time. Till then, much love. Go cultivate your fire and learn how to control it. Don't let that be control you, because if it does,
All right, so this is his own channel, his own stuff. I got one of that just to show, let everybody see just what he's about and how he talks. Now, I've also got one of his newest one of his preaching, what he does, the way that he goes about it. Now, let's put into frame Nicholas, the way that he reacts, the way that he is, his demeanor. And let's go in watching that with Hammond. Let's find out how he reacts in comparison to like Nicholas.
you're going to burn down the entire Badlands, and we need this, right? This is how we hold each other accountable, guys. But again, the majority of men can't even light a flame. So first light to ignite something and then learn to control it on the way down. Till then, much love. Peace. But what we have to understand, because this is very good, is no matter what, if it's not Christian, it's something else. It's going to be secular and atheist. And it's very disingenuous to think that, like, oh, I don't want the Christian flag, but the LGBT flag, that's fine. No matter what, there is one side. Nothing is in neutral. There's no such thing as a complete neutrality. So I can want you to be Christian while still giving you the free will to choose it or not. That's what Christianity is. I can want to promote it. I can want to have Christian signs up. But if you choose to reject it, there's no gun to your head. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hi.
You Christian, not Christian?
I'm not Christian.
Okay. Atheist, agnostic?
I think I'm atheist, bro.
Okay, go for it, man.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at Christianity, I think it's really like a good tool, a good institution.
Yeah.
Especially back in the day, I think we as people have an urge to kind of understand why we're here, where we're here. I think most of the teachings in the Bible is good.
Yeah.
But what I'm really scared of is like the effect on our politics and on certain Christians using it to make America into a country that it's not ever been, that it's not should be, to try to nationalize our laws into some Christian, that there's some moral claims or certain ways people should act based on what they think and based on their book that they read. I don't think that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where we should go as a country.
So I mean, America was founded as a Christian country.
Yeah,
but
we were never founded on a nation.
Right. It's not theocracy. Yeah. No, I'm going to go into that. So we fled from Rome. We fled from Europe. We came to the Americas. 55 of the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence were Bible believing. But here's very important, okay? Nowhere in Christianity are we called to force people to religion. It's not Islam, right? We don't live in a theocracy. So in a Christian society, even a Christian nationalist society, if you're atheist, you're fine, dude. There's no law or gun to your head to say, like, if you're atheist, you get fined or something like that. That is not a Christian concept. Does that make sense?
So I acknowledge that most founding fathers were Christian, but they made every single conscious decision to avoid making a Christian nation. And you can read the Federalist Papers, you read Hamilton's explanation for this. They don't mention Christ in any of the Declaration of Independence. They don't mention Christ in the Constitution. They made it very clear.
Yes.
In the First Amendment, in the Bill of Rights, the Federalists fought for is the right for
freedom of religion.
Yeah. Well, not only the freedom of religion, but for the government not to endorse a particular religion.
Yeah. And that's what I just said, right? Because that's a Christian concept.
Yeah, but when you say a Christian nationalist nation,
well, not nationalist. Okay. It was the majority of men were Christians. Now,
I agree with that.
Even some of them were like, were they Christian? Were they not? Right? But you have to understand, a Christian concept is not theocracy. It is not a law where if you're not Christian, you're not punished.
I get that.
Okay. Yeah. So there's no issue.
Just like I'm saying, what I'm scared of. Is certain politicians, these Republican politicians, using Christianity as a catalyst to.
But what would be bad about that though? If every religion could still be fine.
Well, it's not this. Like, for instance, like the 10 Commandments in school. Like, what do you think about that as a Christian?
What do I think about that? Yeah, I think the 10 Commandments are great.
Well, like, what do you think about like forcing people to put posters up in school of the 10 Commandments?
Force them to put posters up?
Yeah, like teachers,
no, I don't.
Required by the law.
Yeah, for sure, man. And yeah, even like, I'll be honest, dude, I think the Christian framework compared to any other framework is superior, but I don't think you should be forced to.
So you'd be opposed to those laws, like
man.
Like text legislators, like forcing teachers to put up 10 Commandments. Like,
I mean, look, dude, like, because the culture here in Texas is Christian, it's inevitable. There's gonna be, like, if I go to the Middle East, they're gonna have pictures of whatever, you know.
I mean, but that's the great thing about America is I don't think it should ever be inevitable. I don't think that just the fact that, you know, we have Christians here means that we should make a nation of Christianity, or like a nation that is just fully in line with the teachings of Jesus.
Well, it depends what you mean though, man, because something can be promoted while also giving you the free will. Like, if you're atheist, like, this is kind of what I'm saying, right? There's going to be a hint of Christianity in America because our founding fathers were that. If we're so opposed and against that, I would just say move. Like, if you are atheist, whether you are or you're not, go to communist China, North Korea, where you're 100% right. It is illegal to have any religion. Yeah. But it's very hypocritical when America was founded by Christians. We have the bedrock and the framework of Christianity, one of the best countries in the world, but to then reject anything that.
But again, like, the founders of America made it very clear to not be. The American experiment is an experiment in a country where everyone can be whatever religion they want, and they feel no pressure, no endorsement by the federal government to act in a certain way or to act in the teachings of Jesus, which I think we should always strive for. And, you know, I'm going to support you if you're a Christian. You know, I think Jesus was a great guy. I think, if you really follow the teaching of the Bible, follow the teachings of Jesus, you know, you'll probably have a better life. You'll probably have a more full life. Yeah. But just when I see the, you know, I'm political science, I want to get into politics. When I see Republican lawmakers like using Christian nationalism to justify like policy decisions and endorsements, and who they give money to.
But what we have to understand, because this is very good, is no matter what, if it's not Christian, it's something else. It's going to be secular and atheist. And it's very disingenuous to think that, like, oh, I don't want the Christian flag, but the LGBT flag, that's fine. no matter what, there is one side. Nothing is in neutral. There's no such thing as a complete neutrality. So I can want you to be Christian while still giving you the free will to choose it or not. That's what Christianity is. I can want to promote it. I can want to have Christian signs up, but if you choose to reject it, there's no gun to your head.
Yeah, exactly.
But even if you are secular, what I'm saying is it's the exact, like, it's a double standard. If you're not Christian, seculars are going to do that too. All-inclusive gender washrooms, pride flag. I moved from Canada. I'm a legal immigrant from Canada. There's Bill C9. If I preach God made the male and female, I can be thrown into jail.
Oh, yeah.
So that's.
I like it. I like America.
Yeah,
I don't want America to ever be
well, hold up though.
Country of.
Well, that's the thing. Though, hold up. You just said you like America, not Canada, but Canada's more to what you want as far as there's no pushing Christianity whatsoever, and look what overtook it.
No,
but yet you're here in America. So why did that happen in Canada though? Like if you're running for politics,
I'm not Canadian.
So I'll tell you why it happened, man, because they're pushing a much more secular agenda. Because when you remove God, there's secularism, and you know what the fruit of that is? Horrible. And that's why you're here in America. You say you don't like Canada, so it's just a little hypocritical, right?
How?
Because you're in a Christian predominant society. If we remove God here in Texas, you may not like it now, but if we remove God, all hell breaks loose. And that's why I immigrated.
How do you know that?
Because I'm living proof. My pastor's thrown in jail. I legally immigrated here. I fled from Canada. It's turning to a communist country.
So I mean, as we can see in any single Western country in the 21st century, secularism's on the rise. Christianity's on the rise. We've become more civil, more productive, more open. I mean, I don't know how you can say like all hell is going to break loose.
Would you say 1 million abortions a year is productive?
Huh?
Would you say 1 million abortions a year is productive?
Well, I don't have any moral contingency with abortions, so I don't care.
Right. So that's what I mean. So secularism produces preference, and that's very dangerous.
My beliefs is not found on the beliefs of Jesus. I don't get my beliefs from the Bible.
So then why not move to Canada if you're secular?
Because I believe in the American dream.
Which is what?
Which is freedom of religion, freedom of speech. You can be able to do what you want. And you don't have politicians endorsing they can endorse our religion they want as long as they don't have laws obligating it, endorsing it by the federal government.
You would condemn Canada then, who they threw my pastor in jail? Like yes. there was an opposite. Okay, then that's fine. Like
I'm not.
But a lot of the world, like I'm not. If you're secular or not, I'm just saying, man. Nothing is in neutral. If we continue to push a secular agenda with secular politicians, that's what inevitably ends up happening.
I know, but then when you use the word secular there, you're loading it as an immoral, you think it's an immoral thing. When you say secular to me, that just means someone doesn't believe in Jesus Christ, which doesn't affect the beliefs. You have to make a new foundation for your beliefs, and that can guide you a million different ways. Just because you don't believe in Jesus doesn't mean everyone's just automatic woke mind virus throwing pastors in jail. It just means like there's a million other beliefs that just aren't with Jesus. They're just different beliefs.
I would say when we remove God, the woke secular mind virus begins to take over.
Like, what do you mean?
We look at the majority of universities today.
Okay.
Like when we remove God and we have secularism, a lot of hell breaks loose. Like the mental health rate has never been worse. We have transgenderism, LGBTQ.
What's wrong with transgenderism?
I'd say it's not reality. There's only two genders. Reality? There's male and female. That's it. Biology. XXXY.
That's not been the understanding of what gender is for a long time now.
So when did gender get changed from sex?
Usually around like the 21st century, and we started getting better understanding of gender, and we started looking at brains of people with transgenderism, and we started seeing how bad gender convergence therapy is. If you just sit there and tell someone they aren't transgender over and over again, it's not going to fix them. There's something differently wrong with their brain, not wrong with their brain, different with their brain.
All right, and again, with the whole transgenderism, that is a mental illness. No matter what way you want to try to spin it, going the Christian route or not, it's there is only two genders. You do have your occasional weird entity of the third, the in between.
But it still ends up erring on one side or the other.
Most generally, it's still going to be one or the other, no matter which way you want to slice it.
Such a rare occurrence.
Yeah, it is. That it's not worth putting out there. It's not what they're calling for today as far as how many people are trying to say that they are transgender. This is just a society that saw and ran with one set of rules and was like, oh, we don't have to be that way? Well, then let's go this way.
And he's wrong because he was saying it was like at the what he said, the turn of the 20th century, which would have been like the 1900s, the early 1900s.
Yes.
It was like, 1980, I believe, when that guy, his last name was Money.
Yep.
And he's the one that kind of came up with this whole gender as a construct thing. And it was a lot of failed situations with his experiments and everything, too.
Yes.
Because he had two twins. Remember, he made one think that it was growing up
Yeah.
female, but it still caught on eventually, and then it
Yes.
like screwed up in the mind, and then ended up killing themselves.
Exactly.
So
no matter which way you want to spin it,
yeah, really, the guy is wrong all the way around.
yeah,
because
he is.
that has not been around for as long as he thinks it has. It's been maybe 40 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't fly. It's not.
No, it doesn't.
It's not right.
Not at all.
It's a mental illness.
It is.
And now it's just a way for people to make more money.
Yeah, I know, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
That is making them feel a certain way. And it seems that if they express the gender that they feel most aligned with, that creates better conditions for all of society. It makes them happier. It makes us happier. It makes them actually engage society instead of depressed. There's just no reason not to want it besides you have a book that says, oh, it's not real. It's not reality. It's complete. Reality is what we ever want it to be. If they think that
That's the danger of atheism, though.
How?
Reality is whatever we want it to be. So my wife's pregnant, as an example, right? If I say
yeah, but you say, oh, that's not reality. Reality.
No,
is
I'm just using your logic. Okay. Reality is whatever it wants to be.
No, I'm saying that based on what you claimed. You said that's not reality. Transgenderism is not reality. Okay, how is that not reality?
We're jumping a bit. Okay. I can answer that in a second, but based on your claim, you said reality is preference. It's whatever it wants to be. So if that's a baby in there and I say it's a clump of cells, why should I be reprimanded or charged if I take that out? That's what my reality says. That was the 20th century, man. Bloody century. This is what atheism produces. We can go to transgenderism if you want, dude. The term gender role actually got coined in the 1970s. Before that, sex and gender were always the exact same. Always been the exact same. No. You can let me know where.
There's been gender fluctuations in many different cultures and different gender assumptions throughout all of human history. There's also gender is completely a social construct.
Yeah, just because there is something doesn't mean that it's right.
And just because we make the distinction between sex and gender doesn't mean that was ever not a difference. Like it's just like. And then for like what's wrong with someone being transgender in your mind? Why is that
again
wrong?
So we're jumping.
I'm just
yeah, you just gotta let me speak.
Okay,
you're kind of over speaking, right? So first and foremost, gender came out in the 1970s by John Money. Before that, sex and gender were always the same. There are two sexes, male and female. Gender, I mean, sure, I even reject gender. If you want to say it's a spectrum, whatever, there's still only male and female, two sexes. And just to point on what you said, right? You said, well, they have something wrong in their brain. I have something called OCD. It's a mental illness.
Not something wrong with their brain.
Well, there is something wrong with my brain, right? I was on meds. I've seen psychologists. Do you know what a psychologist? Okay, that's fine. But you know what a psychologist should do? Treat my brain. Shouldn't change anything by altering body parts or confirming that. Does that make sense? Like with any other thing, depression, anxiety, if it is a mental illness, actually the DSM-4, it was known as gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder. It was only recently the gender,
so
DSM-5.
Well,
hold on, yes, DSM-5, yes. Now they changed it due to political pressure, but before that, it was always known as gender identity disorder. So it's a complete.
When they did it first in DSM-4, they acknowledged that there was gender dysphoria, and they acknowledged that gender dysphoria and transgenderism were two different things. Gender dysphoria would be a mental illness into where your affliction to your gender is such a big importance to you that it affects your life and the people of other lives.
Yeah, here's where I'm fine.
And then the transgender thing is just someone's expressing a gender that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, bro. If you want to dress up or, play pretend or like do whatever you want, that's fine. Like if you want to associate genuinely, let's say I'm a biological male and I want to pretend I'm a female, that's fine. Do whatever you want.
But when you say the word pretend there, that's not
because here's the thing.
What is the pretend part?
All right, sure. If you genuinely believe it, but you still understand, like I know trans people, whatever that word means, that know that they are hold up, I'm answering. They are biologically male, but they are acting as if they're a woman. That's fine, bro. Do whatever you want. But when you now genuinely believe that your sex is female, that's wrong because it's ruining the fabric of society. It's contradicting laws of logic.
How?
Because the first law of logic is the law of no contradiction. Then there's the law of no excluded middle. You cannot be something. You're either the light is on or the light is off. Transgenderism says the light is halfway in between. It defies law. It just defies logic, bro.
So transgenderism, all it's saying is that there's a social construct of what we assign these sexes. Those are genders, and those genders are what are.
Okay, these people kill me because it's like, okay, they're trying to say it's a social construct, and it's like, you don't have to be this or that just because they say, when in reality, you are born with either or parts on your body. Your body defines, as science has proven, what you are.
It's because they're conflating, they're saying that sex and gender are two different things. And it's like I said, that distinction only started happening in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it isn't though. And it's like it seems to be pretty interchangeable to them when it's convenient, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they switch around a lot.
Yeah.
And like I said, when your body says that you are something, then you are that.
Right.
Just because as
I mean, feel a different way, and that's not.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. And David Hammond is right on that. You know, they should be treating the brain, not changing the body. When it comes to something like that, you know, you like you said with OCD and with everything else, you don't go in and be like, okay, well, let's go change everything like how you look to fit the fact that you feel like this. And no, that's not right. The whole thing is that you want to change and get your chemicals balanced with your body. So, I mean, that is exactly what it is. And so the fact that the West has been running away with this whole, well, gender and sex are two different things, and other countries are now taking off with it too, is ridiculous.
Okay, so it was between the 50s and the 60s. It wasn't the 80s. It was the 50s and 60s when this started. So, but still, in the giant scheme of things, it's still a relatively new fucking concept.
Yeah. And yes, they can use the points that, well, yeah, but like even natives have had some that were, but again, that falls under the very small percentile.
And also that two-spirit thing is bullshit because that came out in like also the 90s.
Yeah.
With some white person that decided to come up with this to kind of fit the ideology as well.
Yeah.
Of course, there were things in situations like that, going all the way back to ancient times, but again, very small. Very small percentage.
Not what they're saying it is now.
No.
Or how we expect to be treated.
Express how
and it is completely different from sex. It has nothing to do with it is wearing suits and ties, it's long hair, it's how you dress, it's how you act, it's your facial hair.
If you want,
nothing about that is.
Yeah, look, dude, again, and this is where we're going to agree because there's a lot of nuance. I've met trans people that have been biological males. I worked with them, and they genuinely believe they are biological females. Okay, so there's nuance.
Well, trans people don't believe they're biological females.
No, you can't say that.
They people who are believe they are women, which is a gender. They don't believe that they were born as a biological female rather than a male. They believe that they wanted to that's the whole point. They want to transition
that they were born in the wrong body, that they should have been female, or that internally they are female. It gets very difficult. If you are a male and you have a gender, which really I would reject gender. I would say it's a personality. Just like people in like the punk rock days, they had long hair and they dressed more feminine. That's fine, but guess what, man? They're still fully male. I have no issue with that. The problem comes into place is when we begin to bend the fabric of reality. We can't do that.
How is that bending the fabric of reality?
Because if we say that
somebody wearing a dress bending the fabric of reality?
Well, because if we say that there are two sexes, male and female, okay, that's it.
So I've already made.
Bro, you can't let you keep cutting me off. All right, you just got to calm down a little bit. Gender and sex have always been the exact same until the 1970s. You can disagree with that. That's fine. No problem. There's two sexes, right? If you're a male and you want to dress as a woman, do whatever you want. Cool, man. But you are still a male. That's it. That's where I draw the line. It's as simple as that.
So, I mean, all transgender, it's just addressing the concept that sex and gender are two different things.
Yeah, but I already deny that.
And if it makes society better, why wouldn't you?
Who says it makes it better?
Because
do you know the suicide rate of trans people?
Do you know the suicide rate of trans people under conversion therapy and every single thing?
I'm against conversion therapy. I'd be against conversion therapy. I'm
a
Christian, right?
How else would you fix people?
Christian, Jesus.
Yep. We see people that believe in these issues.
My wife dealt with gender confusion when she was younger, bisexual. She became born again, fixed. She doesn't desire women anymore. The majority, and again, dude, this is a very different topic. I try to keep more on the gospel. The majority of trans people have been abused. Like their abuse rate's a lot higher, physical, mental, emotional. Their suicide rate is extremely high. There's something wrong there, man. And as a Christian, I would say, hey, I love you. Why don't you repent, believe the gospel, become born again? And my wife is an example, man. She had gender confusion when she became born again. And this is why I'm against conversion therapy, because it's using man tools. We need to use something that is the gospel. My pastor was a heroin addict. I was a big fornicator. I was very angry. When he removes your heart of stone, gives you a heart of flesh, you're now a new creature. So ultimately, bro, that's why we're here. I'm not here to debate politics. I'm not a Charlie Kirk. I'm not here for this legislation. I'm a Christian. Obviously, I disagree with that. But what I want more, like, I'll put it this way, okay? Last thing I'll say, you can push back. You can be trans and still go to heaven. This is very important. It is not behavior modification. It's, are you born again? Now, again, it depends what you mean by trans, because like already that word is kind of confusing. But like, you can be, I'm a bad person, right? Let's say I've done bad stuff, man. Yeah, I'm a sinner, man. I've done bad stuff. I've like, let's say I haven't done this, but like I've killed people in the past, right? Jesus still died for you. Like, you still can be saved. So what I'm trying to do is trying to get people in the boat, become born again, and let your desires change as time goes on.
Yeah.
It's turning more into like a political.
Yeah. No. I'll do one last.
Okay.
Just no like problem. You did. Yeah. I mean, we can have our disagreements like that. I don't know. Just for what's important to me with Christianity is I do think it's a good tool overall. Okay. I do think it helps society overall.
Okay.
And
good.
Pretty much every single metric you can measure like how a person's life has turned out.
Yeah.
Christianity's pretty much always a good indicator.
Okay. Good.
And if you really look at the life of Jesus and you try to follow what he did and what he preached for, you'll probably have a pretty good life.
Awesome.
But what I'm worried about, and I think what a lot of other people are worried about, is when we try to conflate Americanism and what this country should be with the endorsement of a certain religion. And I mean that's all mainly.
Yeah, man. Now, the last thing I'll say is you're 100% right. America, although there's a Christian influence, we as Christians, we're called to be in the world, but not a part of it. So whether you're in Canada, America, a little more Christian, less Christian, we're always going to be set apart. So we're here, man, not with a political agenda. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I don't consider liberal or conservative. Now, I would lean more conservative, but I'm not a political party. I give an account to Jesus, right? So I think that's where we'll draw the line, man. We're here to preach the gospel, and you can be saved as a liberal or a Republican or this or that. Like, I'll just say this because it's very important, okay? Because I'm not with like the big like mega kind of movement. Mm-hmm. You can be a conservative or Republican and still go to hell because you're not born again. Does that make it, like, that's what it really comes down to?
Yeah, no, I 100% get that. I just like a lot of people use Christianity, especially in politics, to justify, horrid beliefs, like complete demonization of certain people and like legislation that is completely un-American at its core.
Sure.
That's the only problem I have. Christian values, if you really live the life of Jesus, I'll always say this, like, you'll probably have a pretty good life. So that's all I'm
Would you say we can wrap up whenever you let me know, but would you say, I mean, I honestly, I don't want to go down that can of worms. I feel like we kind of ended on a good note. I was just going to say, like, would you say then the trans person, if you're saying, you follow Jesus, you'd live a good life, would you recommend them to follow Jesus as well? Do you think they are? Do you think they're not?
I think
I met a lot of them that have rejected Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I think Christianity is a tool.
Okay.
Like if someone's recovering from rehab, the number one thing I suggest is
so do you think
find someone
use Christianity to the trans?
No, because I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think that it's just something they're more comfortable with. It's a simple preference.
Well, they want Christianity. There's something wrong with all of us, right? Regardless if you're straight, you're trans, like there should be no partiality. Like, the trans person should get the gospel.
Yeah. But I don't think transgenderism is a sin. That's the thing, though. So that's the only moral difference that we would be making in that statement.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, as an atheist, there's no such thing.
So when you say should transgenderism follow the teaching of Jesus, in my world, that's just any other person. That's someone.
Well, that's what I just said. Yeah. But the fact that they're not following Jesus, the majority of them are very vehemently opposed to it. I think, hey, you guys should try it out. Why not? Like, why reject it?
I mean, why follow it?
Because you just said your life will get better, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't
if you generally follow teaching of Jesus, not those of Christianity?
Sure. So then, you know what? If I know you're not trans, but the trans person, I want them to follow Jesus just as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, but I don't think they're doing anything wrong by being trans, though. I think it's just any other person.
Okay. But it's the Bible standard, of course. Like, there is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what we're just going to disagree
for what you think.
Yeah. Well, Jesus, But regardless of trans or not, dude, like we've still all told a white lie. We've all looked at a man or woman with lust. Like, we're all sinners. It's not just like the trans is going to hell more than this person. So I would say everyone equally needs the gospel, bro. And I will say this, okay? Being born again with the Holy Spirit has a very transformative, powerful effect. And I would hope that more trans people, more heroin addicts, more liars, more fornicators would get that Holy Spirit. Because I can speak from personal experience and my wife. It really helps. So I would just say to the trans people, don't just discard that completely.
Yeah, I mean, just last point.
Okay, that's good.
I'll leave.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think of like the teachings of Jesus as like a tent kind of values of, of like kindness and humility. And I think like the Bible, you can have certain aspects where it stretches it out
I get it.
or makes into certain things. But I think when I was saying is if you follow what Jesus believed, then you'll generally have a better life. Again, I'll agree to that. That's just how Jesus lived his life, is what I think is a good thing to do. Be
But
nice,
Jesus also
be
called
generous.
out sin, though, right?
Huh?
Jesus also called out sin. You
Yeah.
can't just take parts of Jesus and then disregard the others.
Exactly.
He told the woman in caught in adultery, go and sin no more.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I didn't endorse.
But that would also.
I didn't endorse specific words of Jesus.
I know, but that would also be living like Jesus. You said living like Jesus, right? Live a better life. Well, part of living like Jesus is calling it sin.
Right? Sin, yeah, but I don't believe it's sin. So.
Okay, but
I don't believe it's sin just because Jesus said it's sin.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna go on rabbit trail. That's fine. Okay, man, I appreciate you. God bless you. What's your name? Alex David, nice to meet you, dude. Cheers. Yeah, have a good one. What is going on, guys? Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. That is the end of it. Again, here at UTSA, the main campus. Bit of a different spot this time. Normally we're in that location over there, but that spot was taken. And this one, you know what? Not bad, in the shade. So hopefully it looks all right, guys. We'll work on the shots in the future. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. As always, guys, if you want to support the ministry, myself, my
All right, this was a good one to go over through him because, he does have a lot of good points, and he follows the Christian fundamentalness of it all. And a lot of them are all the same, Nicholas and all of them on this and with the way they stand. Now, he gets a lot more aggressive than what we saw here. But this was a good one because it showed that he does have good points.
Yeah, that's why we started watching the video.
Yes.
Like, what got me was the podcast that he does.
Yes.
That really shows his true colors, and the videos that he does, like the one we saw before this.
Yeah, it really does, because on the podcast he was doing it with a friend, and then he goes on to say something like they split ways, and he was like, yeah, we just didn't see eye to eye and all this stuff, and he was like, it's nobody's fault, but then he tries to blame the guy.
He's like, it's so hard when it's just like one of us is putting all the work in, and one of us is making all the sacrifices, and one of us is putting in money to it, and the other one's just like not showing up when you're supposed to. And it's like, I'm working so much harder. And it's like, it's just like you did with Bryce. It's like, I mean, no harm, no hate or anything, but
this, no, it's like I'm doing all the work. And I mean, you see the egotisticalism in him from the very first video that we watched. And that's exactly what it's all about. He's so egotistical, and he lets his ego run everything that he does. And the video with Bryce, that when he calls Bryce out, let's see if I can find it here. Try to go over part of it if I can. We've got like 8 minutes left.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow believers, guys and girls.
Anyway,
let's get it going. Welcome back to the Badlands. I'll be honest, guys, I honestly love this. Like, this is really
okay. Just go to his channel. You'll find it. It's
I don't know what channel.
Christ Developed, I think, is the one that he would have it on. There's David Hammond, Christ Developed, and he has one more. If you go to him, you'll be able to find it in general.
Just look at him and Bryce Bufford and
Yes. And I mean, obviously, even his David Hammond channel, he's only got 27.7K, which really is not much for somebody that does what he does. The Christ Developed, I'm not entirely sure. I think he might have a little bit more, maybe less. I don't know. Yes, the Christian Faith Podcast. I think that's the one. It's him and his wife together, and I think that's the one that he went after Bryce on. Was that one? So, just you gotta watch who you watch. You gotta know how they think, and you gotta have watched their stuff for a while to really know who to watch out for and who not to. I cover Nicholas. Nicholas is great. I've never had an issue with his work, and he preaches exactly what he teaches. Yes, and then there's this guy that we've seen big inconsistencies with, and that's a problem when you're watching somebody. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Like I said, check him out and see for yourself. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think of him. So, thank you. Namaste. Have a great evening. We'll be back next week.